Hello and welcome back to what's now part 3 of our tips and tricks series. Real quick, before we get started today, I just wanted to say I'm really glad you're here. The series has been a lot of fun so far. Let's get started. On track attack, your goal should always be to stay high, as seen here, but if for some reason you get knocked off, don't worry. You can actually come this way, and you can jump over this edge and keep going without diving. I'll slow it down here, jump over, keep going, and easy first. On the big fans variations with the actual fans, on this last checkpoint, you can jump off of the fan and get catapulted super high so that you land on this last one here. I'll show you another example. You want to jump off the fan, and it carries you all the way past those first two onto the final one right here. And just for a little pro tip, you can see I jump right there, right kind of in the middle of that white arrow, and then that'll get you perfectly with a good angle. Now on the Swiveler, we know there's a variation where the platform does not move, so what you can do is you can grab a buddy, hold on to each other, both of you move towards the fan, and as you can see, it goes right by you, and you're safe. Here's another example. I did it with my buddy, and I let go too soon, and I killed him, so be careful. Now, I don't need to teach you how to use a Yeetus, that's just practice. However, what I will say is, if you're playing Fall Mountain and there is a Yeetus at the end, you need to take it every single time, and I'm going to show you why. So first, here's the clip. As you can see, I used it in one, but now I'm going to play it back and show you just why you need to use it every time. So, first of all, as you can see, I'm pretty far behind, so in the first sense, the Yeetus simply helps you gain ground that you've lost. As you can see, this guy didn't use it, so perfect. I didn't have a great round, but I used it, and it got me ahead. So that's reason number one. But reason number two is simply to maintain the ground that you've gained. So in other words, even if you are in first place, you might think, oh, I don't need to use it, I'm in first. But what happens is, someone behind you, say me in this example, does use it, and they've gained that ground. And this is especially relevant in, should we say, higher skill lobbies where all the, better players, should we say, will be using the Yeetus. So it's better just to practice. You might fail a couple times, mess up a few, and heck, it might even cost you a crown, but it's definitely worth it in the long run. Alright, next let's talk about Lost Temple. I've seen a lot of people say that this is an RNG map, it requires luck, it's not very skill-based, and that's simply not the case. There's two reasons for that. One, the speed and the proficiency at which you can navigate the rooms on Lost Temple is very much a skill and super important. And number two is, technically speaking, there's nothing random about the doors. Sure, a lot of it is probability in terms of maybe one has a, say, 50% chance of opening and the other two are 25 each. But on a balance of probabilities, if you have a general idea where you're going and what tends to come next, then you can very well navigate the rooms on Lost Temple. Now, of course, I said probability. Obviously, probability is not, certain, so to say. So just because a door has, say, a 25% chance of opening, which is less than the other two, it doesn't mean it won't happen, right? So in other words, it very well could. But like I said, on a balance of probabilities, if you generally have a feel for where you're going, then the vast majority of the time, you'll be just fine. And when it comes to having an idea where you're going, it's simply just practice and patient practice and really paying attention to, the trends in Lost Temple. But anyway, with that acknowledged, let's get into some specific tips. So here's an example. This was a pretty competitive Lost Temple with this Dark Knight here, and we're going to talk about this room right here. Simply put, if you don't know what you're doing in this room, these flippers are going to toss you all over the place. But luckily there's a very specific strategy we can deploy that'll get us through no problem. Let me rewind and show you. Instead of trying to run straight through this room, what you're going to do is you're going to run to the middle on this diamond. You're going to wait just a moment and then you're going to go. And in fact, a good rule of thumb that I highly advise is that you do a little spin with your bean. By the time that spin is done, it will be the perfect time to then move forward and go beyond the room. And one thing I should mention, guys, is if you want to go through this room diagonally, there's an answer as well, and I'll show you right here. You can actually come in, and what we're going to do is we're going to jump over the flipper. So rather than trying to go through the middle, we're going to jump over it. You see it hit me there, but the point remains. You can get through it like that. Piece of cake. Here's another one. So, on this room that has the 4 trap doors and the fan in the middle, if you time it, you can jump off of that trap door, and as it's coming up, it'll fling you across. As you can see, this door happened to be the incorrect one, but the point remains. It's perfect for kind of boosting you across super fast. Okay, let's talk Slime Scraper. One of my favorite skips occurs right here, actually. I'll show you first, and then I'll slow it down and we can explain it. So what you're going to do is you're going to jump, you're going to land on the slime here, and then go into the low gravity zone, after which it'll carry you up onto the platform and you can kind of skip the beam with the spinning fans. I'll show you another example. On this one you can see I kind of messed up. The low gravity didn't quite take me all the way, so I went back on to the slime, back into the low gravity, and it carried me just fine. Okay, and then right at the end here, there's one more skip we can do. We can actually jump off these flippers and they'll propel us over. You didn't see that. But anyway, if we jump off this one to the left, it'll actually take us straight to the one on the right, which will then push us to the conveyors, almost always without fail. In fact, it's very rare, I've only seen it a few times, that it actually flings you off the bollard into the slime like that. So don't let that discourage you from trying this. Now at this time I wanted to get into some more advanced hexaterrestrial tips. However, this video has run a little longer than I had expected, so that's not a problem. We can save it for the next edition, the 4th edition. But if you made it this far, I just want to thank you for tuning in today. I sincerely hope some of these tips, even if just one of them is helpful and it's something you can apply in the game. And as always, if there's something in particular you're looking for, whatever it might be, I don't care if it's a final, a team game, whatever. Put it in the comments, and I'll be happy to try to address it. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.